But there's, they got an award saying they went up on the roof under fire and all this shit. There was no fire. I was the first one up on the damn roof.
They got an award for that?
They got the second highest award. Both of them.
Did these Delta guys, did they see it was over when they showed up?
Yeah.
Was it all the way over?
I mean, they were there when the mortars hit, but that was it. They didn't come out. They didn't shoot a gun. They didn't fire. They were never out in the open under fire. Nothing.
We have a former Marine Blackwater operative from the Benghazi attack that is saying that there are people that should not be getting awards for some of the stuff they did, and saying that there are soon to be Medal of Honors that are going to be given if this is appealed and these awards move up throughout the process. And he has exposed this on the Shawn Ryan Show podcast. If you guys don't know who this guy is, this is John Tiegen. He has the 13 Hours book, which, by the way, is also what the movie is based on, about the entire Benghazi attack.
Everybody, this is Jack Silva.
Jack.
We train SEALs at Coronado, so he knows the drill.
Welcome to Club Med.
And he goes into huge detail. We're not going to cover every second of this podcast, but it's around the 2 hour and 31 minute mark where you find this.
But then I think one of the case officers got a hold of another unit that was down there, and they had about 300 strong, gun trucks, all that stuff. They showed up, again, I think 7:38 in the morning, something like that. And that's when I'm just standing there like, this is so freaking stupid. The two Delta Force guys come back, said, hey, we got to get the guys off the roof. And I'm like, okay, we got a tow strap that we use to pull the tires. And as we're walking, I'm telling them I can go get it. We can lower them down. They're like, oh, don't worry about it. We got this. So we just need you to come and pull security for us. So I go and I start going up the ladder, pull security, right? Like, no, what are you doing? Just stay down here and wait. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, they're gonna, probably do the whole backpack thing, bring the guys down, because we got time. Now we have like a 300-man militia surrounding our compound. They got gun trucks. They're in uniform. They're very well organized, very well structured. So, again, we had time. They lower them down, and next thing I know, as I'm sitting here, I'm looking this way, back this way. Again, it's another like a shed. So all I can really do is look forward, but even in front of me, I got a big ass generator house. So I really can't see shit. And next thing I know, I see a body get put up on top of the ledge, and I'm still probably, I don't know, good 3 feet, from the outside the ledge. And next thing I know, they just push him off. He comes down right next to me, smacks. I can hear the shoulder crunch, his head hit. And then you can see where he ran into because we had like really thick kind of rose bushes, kind of sliced his stomach open a little bit, and that ended up being Bub. And I'm just like, holy shit, they just did this. And then, I'm still standing there and I'm going, oh, I know it's fucking coming next. The first one was kind of a shock. The other one was just fucking miserable. And you just hear him come down, smack, you can hear the shoulder hit and then the head hits. And again, in my mind, at least try to lower them down by their hands, something, let them drop, but just to shove them off like that was fucking disgusting. And then, what they told the Roan's wife and everybody's family was, oh, we got them off respectfully.
Yeah, so he is claiming that the attacks on Benghazi were already done and they were not there actually part of it. He was up there the entire time protecting his observation point, and from that the Delta Force guy and this Marine were essentially not truly there during it. They were part of this reinforcement of militia that came through and were not actually being shot at, nor did they actually shoot at anybody else. Now I'm going to just compare this to what the actual citations say, because we need to show both sides of the story here. And this was Gunnery Sergeant Tate Jolly. I'm going to skip down. It's about Benghazi, Libya, all that. But it says his valorous actions dedicated to duty and willingness to place himself in harm's way for the protection of others was critical to the success of saving numerous United States civilian lives. Throughout the operation, Gunnery Sergeant Jolly continually exposed himself to fire as he shepherded unarmed civilians to safety and treated the critically wounded. His calm demeanor, professionalism, and courage were an inspiration to all and contributed directly to the success of the mission. And if you want to compare that also to this other one as well, which was for the Master Sergeant David Ryan Hallbrunner, where they say similar things about the same thing of continually exposing himself to fire as he shepherded unarmed civilians to safety and treated the critically wounded. So everything on their end is matching up, saying they both were there doing the same exact thing. Copy, paste, change some names, you're good. This guy is saying that's not what happened.
That's not respect. That was a fucking disgrace. You know, there's nothing you could do about it. It was done. So a couple of the guys came around. I ended up grabbing Bub's arms, and the other US guy grabbed his legs, carried him around, got him up on the bed. And I know we'll go back to a little bit more because about the fight that we had sitting there that they're saying that I lied about what they did. They're saying, again, they're trying to tell everybody that they got them off dignified and all that crap. They're trying to say that the Delta Force, I hate bashing on guys, kind of like those dudes that kind of started this whole thing again. But they got an award saying they went up on the roof under fire and all this shit. There was no fire. I was the first one up on the damn roof. You know,
They got an award for that?
they got the second highest award, both of them, second highest.
For going up on a roof.
Yep, and getting Dave Ubben off. That's all they did, and throwing Ronan Bub off. You know, so when they came out and started attacking me, saying we lied about that I lied about it. Oh, I was pissed. So I started going through all the congressional reports. Well, there's actually another eyewitness proving that they threw the bodies off the roof in that report because he saw it through the back door. He talks about it in Congress.
And we all know when you testify to Congress, you should not be lying. That's perjury. These are official statements that you could be making. So for somebody to come out and say, this is actually what happened, agreeing with him on the record is insane. And what we're seeing are like a lot of people in the podcast sphere. I can't find out some specific ones that are out there. We'll get to one that's part of this, but essentially we're bashing him like, don't tear our brothers down. And I'm like, you're talking about a dude where I'm like, what would be the motive for somebody like Tig here to say someone did less? If anything, he's a prior Marine. He would want to give people all of the valor that they deserve if they were doing crazy things. But that's not what he sees.
So now they're actually trying to get upgraded to the Medal of Honor as well.
They're trying to upgrade that to the Medal of Honor?
Yep. For showing up late and again, reading through his congressional report, they waited 2 to 3 minutes after the mortars hit to even come out. Dude, I was up on that fucking roof in like 30 seconds.
Did these Delta guys, did they see it was over when they showed up?
Yeah.
Was it all the way over?
I mean, they were there when the mortars hit, but that was it. They didn't come out. They didn't shoot a gun. They didn't fire. They were never out in the open under fire. Nothing.
And they got the second highest award.
Yep.
In
For
our
Army
game.
and Marines. What is the Navy Star, I think, or something like that.
Navy Cross.
Navy Cross, yeah.
And they're going to be upgraded to the Medal of Honor.
Yep, I read it. Yep, they're trying to get upgraded to the Medal of Honor. Which to me is just a slap in the face. It's a disgrace to that award. So I'm doing my best to fight it, but again, I've even told a couple of the Medal of Honor recipients, it's like, this is it degrades what the purpose of it is.
What do they say?
They can't really do anything. It's up to some committee and crap, which again, you try to get a hold of, try to email, nothing. And it goes like if those guys get that award, I would never be able to look at a Medal of Honor the same way ever again. Because I'll be thinking the same thing, like, you didn't fucking earn that. The other Delta Force podcast came at me. Some other journalist that does Fox News came at me for it. saying that we lied, because they're saying the Delta Force guys are saying that I lied, that they got them down respectfully. They were up on the roof under fire, all this horse shit. Again, I was up there. I was going to a third individual, put on 2 tourniquets, looked one over, put it on another tourniquet, looked one over, getting him up, moving him, going to the third individual before anybody got up on the roof. And, they're trying to say, we put this out there. Nobody reached out. Well, actually, they talked about on the show how Boone's team, they laughed it off. That he tried to reach out. And again, it was just a bunch of horseshit. All they do is try to tear guys down. I mean, and it's, you got other operators trying to tear other operators apart, which is horseshit. And then this other guy, again, he says, well, I contacted the Special Forces Operations Command within 24 hours. And they said, no, his awards are good. No, nobody's going to get back to you that fast, period.
Who was that?
I forgot what the guy's name is. He's like the big, usually I guess he does more sports crap, but he's buddies with the Delta Force guys that do that podcast. So
This is the Anti-Hero podcast.
yeah, but it's the other guy that they use, I think, too. Also, they came up to me and they're like, "Hey, you remember when we were under fire up on the roof?" No,
They tried to tell you that
we were under fire on
tried
the
to
roof.
basically manipulate you into saying that they were under fire on the rooftop.
Yeah, and then Rowan's wife wanted to talk to me, but I couldn't talk to her at that time because I was still dealing with them getting fucking tossed off the damn roof. How am I going to tell the wife that? But I guess they had already told her that they got him off respectfully.
This is all coming around at a very interesting point in time in history. And that is because, did you watch my video recently about the fallout and the pretty much crumbling of the Anti-Hero podcast that's been going on? It was built on stories like this, and people are lashing out. But we've seen how that's gone, and people are very fatigued by it. The other person that they're wanting to talk about, he says, was a sports reporter, was actually the YouTube hit sensation, David Hookstead. You guys know that dude that just essentially like de-rides every person that's ever been in special operations. But what's really interesting about this entire thing is David Hookstead said, I had to take down some of those podcasts from Delta Forces. Let's check this clip out.
Time to address the fact that many Delta Force interviews that were very viral online, not just on my channel, but on other channels as well, have disappeared from the internet, have been taken down. Unfortunately, there are a lot of problems behind the scenes, a lot of them. And over the course of the past week or so, I don't remember the exact day, I've had several former operators reach out to me very politely asking for their interviews to come down, due essentially to, there's probably no better way to phrase it than just say national security concerns from the top down about these guys doing interviews. I want to be clear. These guys are retired. They have all been retired for a very, very, very long time. They do not know anything about what's going on over there currently.
What's interesting is I'm looking at the timeline of that, and the Shawn Ryan podcast, this appeared on September 11th. Keep that in mind. This video that David Hookstead is saying he took down all these things, that was from 10 days ago. That would have been like a day or so after this podcast dropped. So all these special forces, Delta guys, just magically were like, we want this down, while they're pending any kind of citation to be moved up to a Medal of Honor, while they probably cited their version of stories and they don't want this to be contested. I cannot guarantee there is any kind of true correlation there in a legal stance or setting, but I'm saying the timeline seems a little suspicious. I will let you guys be the judge of what you think is going on. Now, what's even more crazy is there are people that have been silent since the Benghazi incident that have never spoken a word, that were like, I actually need to say something because these guys, like David Hookstead, don't know what they're talking about, and they were actually there. I would love to see this person actually come out. They kind of don't, but they do. But I don't think Shawn Ryan would put his credibility on the line to say this letter that was sent to him by somebody that was there with this guy to set the facts straight.
So there's been a lot of controversy on what happened on the rooftop in Benghazi. when Ty and Glenn were thrown off the roof by the Delta operators. And it really, really bothers Tig, all the guys that these guys are getting supposedly upgraded to the Medal of Honor. And most of you guys know that there's one guy that has never come out publicly. He goes by Jack Silva in the movie 13 Hours, right? Nobody knows who he is. I know who he is, but he goes by Jack Silva. He's never made a statement, never come public about being at that event. And he reached out to me after Tig's episode in regards to, he wanted to make a statement on what happened on the roof. He does not want to see his guys thrown under the bus and fall into the veteran drama of bullshit that is all over the internet. Shawn, as you know, for 13 years, I haven't said a single word publicly regarding the events in Benghazi. No social media, no interviews, nothing. I'm still not seeking any attention or publicity. Tig did not ask me to write this. I'm just doing what I believe is right. It really bothers me to see Tig's integrity be questioned by the podcasters who know the two Delta operators, but were not there. First of all, in the interviews and podcasts that support the Delta operators and try to discredit Tig's version of the events, it's never really clear what they actually disagree with. Friends of the Delta operators basically just said, in quotes, "I heard that's not what happened." But if you listen to other podcasts, I've noticed some have recently been removed. There's no real substance there. They just keep emphasizing that these guys are tier 1 operators. I guess implying that they have integrity, which I'm sure they do. But since neither of the Delta operators have said anything publicly, all we really know, according to their friends, is that they disagree with something. But what? Maybe I don't have all the information, but I haven't found anything directly from the Delta operators disagreeing with anything. In Benghazi, the Delta operators arrived at the annex just prior to the mortar attack, so did not participate in any of the previous firefights. During the final attack, consisting of small arms fire, RPGs, and mortars, only the people on the rooftops were directly exposed to fire and in a position to return fire. The Delta operators were not up there. I repeat, were not up there. The compound was surrounded by high walls. In order to fire your weapon at attackers, you had to either be on the rooftop or one of the towers that Tig and Oz were fighting from earlier that morning. It would have been physically impossible to get a shot off without being at one of the elevated fighting positions. The Delta operators were at neither when the final attack happened. After the last mortar struck Building C, not a single round was fired, not by the attackers and not by anyone at the annex, including Delta. After the mortar attack, Tig was the first person to climb up on the roof of Building C. He alone assisted the wounded for several minutes before anyone else came up to help him. Delta did eventually come up and assist, but not before Tig asked for help up here. An OD came over the radio and said that if somebody doesn't get up there to help, that he was going to leave his fighting position and go up to help Tig. At that point, the Delta operators went up, but it was an uncomfortably long time before they did. I then watched one of them carry Dave Ubben down the ladder on his back. What Tig said about Tyrone and Glenn Bubb being thrown off the roof is 100% true. I witnessed it from my position on top of Building D. There was no incoming fire at that time, nor had there been for at least 15 minutes. At the airport, the ambassador's body showed up in the back of a militia pickup truck while we were all waiting for the flight out of Benghazi, Delta included. So if the Delta operators had anything to do with the negotiations in Arabic to retrieve the ambassador's body, as mentioned in one of the podcasts supporting Delta, then it had to have been on the phone or on the tarmac with one of the militia members. They did not leave the annex or the airport to retrieve the ambassador. Although I don't know the full extent of what the Delta operators did that morning, I'm certain they were not continuously exposed to fire while shepherding unarmed civilians to safety, as stated in their citations. Also, everyone there was armed. Even the cook carried a shotgun. I want to be clear that I'm grateful for the Delta operators' willingness to get on a plane and fly into a hostile environment to help save lives. That is heroic in itself. I'm pretty sure they provided life-saving medical care inside of Building C. Although I did not personally witness that, I was glad to have them there. Before leaving Libya, I thanked them both for coming and gave the blonde one wearing a ball cap and aviator sunglasses my orange Benchmade triage rescue knife in gratitude. He will know this detail. I stand behind Tig's version of events that morning. Like Tig said at the end of your podcast, the Shawn Ryan Show, the 5 of us surviving GRS contractors individually told our version of what happened to the author. The book is a compilation of each of our perspectives, which largely coincide with each other. We didn't sit down and conspire to create a narrative. We just wanted the truth to finally come out. For what it's worth, I hope this helps your audience in their decision to believe one side or another. Sincerely, Jack Silva.
The fog of war, the fog of instances can kind of blur that. We all are looking for the silver lining. We're all looking for the next documentary that's going to be made on Netflix and how it's going to write history. And in certain ways, you can have history written in good ways, even when it's not good. You guys remember during the election cycle where everyone's like, Benghazi, it's crazy. It was a really bad idea. Bad things happened. And now people are trying to paint it in this good light by giving people like Navy crosses and things and update them to medals of honor. And I don't know what to make of this, but it does look like people are censoring things. And I don't know why. And when I look at these guys, my only perspective where I'm like, why would they relive something from, going on almost 15 years ago now? Why are they doing that? To, traumatize themselves, 1. 2, they already wrote a book and it's made tons of money. They already have a movie that was very popular, made a ton of money. So I'm like, what incentive would they have? Like, what bravado would they need? They already have all the credibility. So I'm like, I'm trying to think of every other angle of this to try and not be biased. But I'm like, it sounds pretty basic, but I want to leave this up to you guys and see what you guys think down in the comments below.